Hey man, say man, back at y'all again today, man, with another video. Guys, today we are still in Osaka, but we are heading off to Nara. They have several hard offs, book offs, and also vintage stores as well. Come along for the journey, and I hope you guys enjoy the ride. So first off, let's go get one of these famous creme brulee sweet potatoes. Right now you can see our train is approaching, and that's why you hear that chime ahead. Be sure to pay attention which cars are open, because you might get lucky and snag yourself an empty seat here on the train. Time to get off at the first station now to make the first transfer. From there we're going to go ahead and take this escalator up, and that'll take us to the next platform we need. Alright guys, train is pulling up now. Either way, let's go ahead and pop on to the train. We are here at the final station. Now the dessert place is actually here somewhere at the station. Tap out, follow sign for exit 7. You can see up there the number 7. So I exited on the wrong side of the street, but it's directly on the other side. Well today they open a little bit later. So 2 minutes and I guess we'll be the first ones here when they open. Alright guys, so we are here. I've seen this place going viral all over TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. This is the place where you can come and get the famous sweet potato shaped ice or the creme brulee sweet potatoes. They also have a bunch of different items here, frozen on hand, ready to go, but this is the one that I ordered. Man, it was delicious. Check out how perfect it came out, and I could not wait to dig straight into one of my favorite dishes, creme brulee. I found it, it's B13, that's what we need. We are currently here and we need to go down here. So, waiting for B13, we'll hop on that and then we'll make our rounds. To yet another book off. My first one here in Nara is 100 degrees Fahrenheit out here, so I had to stop, hit the vending machine before we came in. But we have finally made it to the book off in Nara, Japan. Getting straight inside, you are greeted with several game cases, and they have just about everything on these rows. Now, not too much on the older end. When I looked at the console case, I did see this PS1 Slim. No screen combo, but only 3,800 yen is not the worst price ever in the world for one of those. Going on down the row, I did see this little console cabinet with the pink 3DS for 5,280. It did have some issues that made me not pick it up. The bottom screen was defective. We also had a couple Pokemon games in the case, but I did notice, comparatively speaking, that these were higher priced than the ones we normally see when it came to the Pokemon games specifically. I mean, when you take a closer look, you can see Emerald here is 17,000. I'm not going to pay 17,000 for Emerald, but you know, it's not the worst price ever. Long story short, I did eventually end up getting a copy of Emerald for 10,000 with a 500 off coupon whenever I did find Emerald, but this was months later on down the road. I did see this pink Dreamcast, and I'm not sure if this was a Hello Kitty special or what edition it was, but it was pretty cool to see it sitting there, and even in that old condition, it was still over 20,000 yen, just because you can see how limited that console was. Many different Game Boys in the case as well, and you can just see from backside to side stacks of cased games on the walls. They had anything from Wii, DS, PS1, 2, 3, 4, Dreamcast. The cartridges were over here on the other side, but I did see a couple different things here in the junk box end caps. They had a Wii, they had a Super Famicom, another one of those Gran Turismo GT Force racing wheels. You see those kind of everywhere. My favorite GT Force product, I guess, is actually a Flight Force. It's the Sidewinder F, and that is a force feedback joystick that is a flight controller that does still work with current PCs, even in modern day times. Going forward, I decided to check out the card case, and this is going to be the most in-depth card case walkthrough I've given you since I've been in Japan. Now, normally I don't like to take a lot of time shopping at the card case, But today I had a couple different things that I was looking for. So I took the time to go ahead and show you every single card that I thought was worth looking at. That Slowpoke was sick. I am a huge fan of anything e-reader, anything older EX. I'm talking like Fire Red, Leaf Green, Cracked Ice, Hollow Era EX stuff. Not any of the modern. There's a few of the modern stuff. Of course, Prismatic is out now. Wasn't out at the time of this video, but I mean, good luck to everybody on Prismatic and Terrestrial. Couple different EXs here of like the Plasma era, and one of my favorite is the break cards. Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but on the break card typically there's a Japanese text across it, and that just says the move in Japanese. Well, it's the opposite with the Japanese language card. So if the card is in a foreign language, the text across the Pokemon itself will say the move in English. So that's why, I'm not sure if you noticed, but that Charizard said Heat Wave across his picture, because that was one of his moves with that specific card. Pretty cool little fun fact to see. A ton of shinies. You can see those Charizards up there in the top, most notably Champion's Path Zards. The equivalent there is actually not that expensive. I remember back when a Champion's Path Zard was around $500, but the Japanese counterpart is only about 50 bucks. So that's one thing I like a lot about Japanese cards, is as a collector, a lot of times I'm just chasing the card itself, the artwork. I'm not actually someone who plays these cards in tournaments or anything. I'm just a collector. So man, to be able to pick a card up in Japanese or Korean or any of these other countries that I visited along the way has been awesome to me, just because, man, like, I mainly collect the artwork. That's what I'm in it for, with the collection of the singles. Going in, you see a couple more different modern alternate arts, or SIRs as they would call them, like that Metacham V shown right there, some Dialgas. Palkia the Mew V. I did end up finally getting one of those Dialga Vs. I'm not sure if I ever did show that here on the channel, but I did end up picking one of those up today from this card shop. They had two of them, and one of them was super clean. And that's about all we have from the card cabinet. I mean, there was a lot to see, so I tried to get a good glimpse of everything Pokemon wise. But guys, there were just so many cards in this cabinet. I'm sure you can tell it was a lot to take in. From there, I decided to go ahead and finish the walkthrough, and I was still on a mission to find the camera case. I was seeing a lot of electronics like iPhones, iPads, tablets, Androids. You know, they even had old school stuff, modern stuff. I mean, it's always a mixture at these stores. That's why I love going to a book off, hard off, off house, any of the off stores, man. It is such a worth stop to go ahead and make if you have some spare time while you're on your journey in Japan. Or maybe you're like me and you came to Japan specifically to do thrift shopping. Either way, a hard off, book off, anytime you pass one by, you don't want to pass it up. Finally, after all the searching, I did find the camera case. So of course, you know me, I had to check out all they had in the camera case. They even had this Product Red Mini. Man, I still wish that I would have picked up that Product Red Mini. Actually, you know what? That was a Nano second generation. That's why I didn't pick it up. I thought it was a Mini at the time too, but now watching it back, I remember that's why I didn't pick it up. Product Red second generation with the dead battery, so it was more than it was worth kind of thing. But they did have a bunch of older camcorders, which was always a cool thing to see. Back in the day, my father used to record with a camcorder. But boy, times certainly have changed since then. Everything nowadays is pretty much going to be shot on a professional camera, iPhone, or an Android even. So nowadays, the use for those old school camcorders aren't as valid as they used to be. I did find another camera case here. Then I walked down to check out some of the other aisles, little quick glimpse at the rest of the guitars, because they had a wide selection of acoustics before going back to explore that camera case more, because the whole time I was in Japan, I was looking for a camera and, you know, maybe a guitar if I found one that I just couldn't live without. So back to the camera case I went. and we dove straight in to see what we could find. I figured out we'd go ahead and check out 2nd Street right across the street before we head on. And that bike is awesome. 17,000. So as you guys just heard, right across the street from Book Off, there was a 2nd Street. Now 2nd Street doesn't really have as many electronics, but I did want to go in and see what they did have. They had a lot of designer at this one, a ton of different Louis bags, a couple styles that were actually pretty nice, but man, some of the prices here at the 2nd Street were definitely outrageous. Had a couple cool guitars. They had one that I definitely did like. That Bernie was fire and that Strat was clean too, but man, if I'm in Japan, I'm gonna get a Strat. It's gotta be made in Japan. That's the only way to go. Keyboards were looking cool in the electronics cases, but I didn't see an abundance of camera gear here. This was all they really had. That was a decent Pentax camera, but man, I am a Lumix guy looking for a Lumix GH5. Couple GoPro accessories, but nothing overall that I was looking for. 2nd Street is a pretty cool store, and that's why I'm going to start showing you guys a little bit more of it here and there. It just doesn't have exactly what I'm looking for, but overall, in general, these thrift stores in Japan are amazing. From clothes to shoes to tents to suitcases, just about anything you can think of, you can find it at one of these thrift stores out here in Japan, and usually the items in great condition. Either way, guys, I want to thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. Please stay tuned for more videos from Japan, and chances are, if you like this one, you'll like these 2 videos too. Until next time, I'll be out this thing. Peace!